Hello all, in this particular tutorial we will learn how to install Oracle Database 21c and SQL Developer on Windows. To install Oracle Database, download Oracle 21c for Windows, extract the software on Windows target server, run setup.exe from extracted folder, open Windows command prompt and run netca to create listener, open Windows command prompt and run dbca to create database. NetCA stands for Net Configuration Assistant. NETCA. NetCA allows you to create the listener. The listener is important in a way that without listener, you will not be able to connect to your database from a remote server. Listener runs the port, whichever port that you have defined in the listener, that it runs that particular port, and Oracle database listens on that particular port for the incoming connections. Database Configuration Assistant, DBCA, stands for DBCA. Database Configuration Assistant allows you to create database, drop database. Using DBCA, we'll be creating the database. Using NetCA, we'll be creating the listener. Once we have installed the Oracle database, let's proceed with installing the SQL Developer. To install SQL Developer, download SQL Developer from Oracle website, install SQL Developer, test database connectivity using SQL Developer. Now, the software used for this particular lab is Windows Server 2022 Data Center Edition Evaluation Version and Oracle Database 21.3, which is 21C Enterprise Edition. Now, you can use Windows 10, Windows 11, whatever steps are mentioned here will work for your Windows 10 or Windows 11 edition. So you don't have to stick with Windows Server 2022. Now, there are multiple ways to, once your database has been created, there are multiple ways in which you can connect to your Oracle database. If you want to connect to your database locally on the machine where you have installed the software or where you have created the database, you can do that. You have to set the Oracle SID. This Oracle SID is the Oracle database that you have created, the SID or instance name that you have created, that you have to specify here. And then when you say SQLPLUS sys as DBA, you will be making connection as sysdba to the container database. So this particular method will directly connect you to the container database. Now this particular method will only work on the machine where you have installed the Oracle database or the Oracle database is running. If you want to connect with the listener, then the format would be username, password at hostname, port, the default port, and in case of Oracle, the default port is 1521. Then the DB service name as sysdba. So if you want to connect to the container database, you will say SQLPLUS sys. This password is of the sys user, and from where you'll get this particular password during the installation. When it will prompt you the installation, during the database creation, it will prompt you for the sys password. That sys password you have to use here. Localhost, if you are doing it from the same server, you'll say localhost. If you are doing it from the remote server, you can give the machine name or IP address. 1521 Aura21 is the SID that we have created. If you have created the Oracle database with a different SID, replace it here as sysdba. And if you want to create the PDB, if you have created the PDB, and if you want to create the PDB, connect to the PDB, then the command would be exactly same, except here instead of Aura21, you will give the PDB name. So this one will allow you to directly connect to the PDB. This one will connect to the container database, and from container database we can connect to the PDB, but here you will directly get connected to the PDB. Now you can also connect using SQL Developer. Name can be of your choice, whatever name you want to give. The username sys, password of the sys user, from where we'll get the password. Remember, I told you when we created the database, it will prompt us for the password. That particular password will enter here as sysdba. If you want to save the password, you can save it. Here in the host name, you'll give either the machine name or IP address. Default port, if you have used the default port, which is 1521, and the SID is whatever SID that you created, the database that you created, that SID or Oracle SID that you will mention here. This will allow you to connect to the root container. This will allow you to connect to the root container. Now, if you want to connect to the PDB, then you can Instead of SID, you can say the service name. Rest of everything will remain the same. Here, instead of SID, you will give the service name, and that would be the service name of the PDB that you have created. Now that we have seen everything, let us begin the labs. But before beginning the labs, let me just repeat the steps for you so that we understand what we are going to do. So we are going to download the software, extract the software, run setup.exe. These three steps will install the software. Once that is done, we will use netCA to create the listener, dbca to create the database. Let's begin. The first thing is to download the software. So we will open the browser and search for download Oracle Database 21C for Windows, and you will get this particular link. Open this particular link, and here you can clearly see it is Oracle Database 21C for Microsoft Windows x64. You need to have an Oracle account. If you don't have the Oracle account, you need to create one and sign in. Once you sign in, you will be able to download this particular software. So let's click on download button, which will start downloading. The software is close to 2.5 GB. I have already downloaded that particular software. So if I show you here, 2.47 GB. The software has already been downloaded. I'm not going to waste your time, my time in re-downloading the software. So let me cancel this. The next part is downloading the SQL Developer. So let's search for that. So download SQL Developer. We will get this particular link. Click on this particular link. It says SQL Developer 24.3.1. This is the latest available as of today. So let's scroll down, and here it says Windows 64 with JDK 17 included. So let's click on download button, which will start downloading this. It is close to 559, 558. So let's go here. I have already downloaded that particular software. So I'm not going to waste your time, my time in re-downloading the software. So the download part is done. Now, once the software has been downloaded, we are going to extract it and run the setup.exe. Let's do that. So before I extract, so this is the main Oracle database software. This is the SQL Developer. So we have downloaded two softwares. This is close to 2.5 GB. This is close to 558 MB. So what I'll do, I will open this in the C drive. I will create a new folder called app. And under that, I will create two folders, one called Oracle and another called Oracle Base. Let me create these two folders here. So that's done. Now what I'll do, I will take this particular path, app Oracle. You can see the folder is empty. Clearly it is empty. Let's go to the downloads location and let's use unzip, open archive, extract, and where you want to extract, give the location C drive app Oracle. Again, you can extract it wherever you want. You can extract in D drive, E drive, wherever you want, you can extract it. So you can see that folder was empty. Now that particular folder, we are able to see that some files are getting extracted. So let's wait for the extract to complete. And once the extract is complete, I'll show it to you. So let's do view list here and let's give it a few seconds for the extract to complete. And that looks good. So let's close this. And here you can see we got this red color setup.exe. Let's right click on it and say run as administrator. So wherever we extracted that particular software, under that you'll find this setup.exe, red color icon, right click on it, run as administrator. So we have launched the setup. So let's give it a few seconds for the setup to initiate. So it's basically behind the scene, it's gathering all the information. So give it a minute. Now here there are two options that you can choose. One, you can say create and configure, and second, you can say setup software only. If you choose the first option, first it will install the Oracle database, then it will create the database for us. If you choose the setup the software only, it will just install the software and then we have to create the database manually using dbca. It gives us how you can create the database. You can use the dbca to create the database after installation. Let's use the setup software only. Let's click on next. Again, do you want to install single instance or rack? Since we are going to do the single instance, we'll stick with the default option. Click on next. Based on your licensing, Enterprise Edition or Standard Edition, you can choose one of that. We will stick with Enterprise Edition. Click on next. Here it will prompt you for what account will be used to run the Windows services for the Oracle database. We can use the virtual account, we can use existing Windows user, we can create new Windows user, or we can use Windows built-in account. We will stick with use virtual account. So let's click next. Now this is important. This particular directory will be used as the Oracle base. Remember, in the beginning I created two directories, so you can leave that whatever is displayed here, you can leave it at this, or if you want to change it, you can change it. I have changed it. So C $C/app C:\app Oracle base. That's a directory that where I'm going to store. And you can see that particular directory is empty. But when I click next, and here, if everything looks good for you, what you can do, you can save, you can click on install. But what I'll do, I will just save the response file. This particular response file is nothing but a text-based file, and whatever options that we gave, it will be saved in that particular file. So let's save that particular file and let's click on install. The installation is not going to take a long time, because the installation in the where we have extracted the software, that becomes your installation location, that becomes your Oracle home. So what all that this particular installation does, it registers the Oracle database software on this particular machine. So and you can see we are almost there, the registration of Oracle database. So all that it does, it registers the Oracle database software on this machine. So that's done. So we have completed the first three steps at this moment: downloaded the software, extracted the software, run setup.exe, which actually install the Oracle database for us. So only at this moment, the software has been installed. There is no database. We have just installed the software. There is no database. Let's close this. So what we are going to do now, we are going to launch the Windows command prompt. So let's launch Windows command prompt, run as administrator. And what we can do, we can type netca. So what does this particular command will do? It will launch Oracle Net Configuration Assistant, and it allows you to do the listener configuration. It allows us to do the listener configuration. Now, if you don't want to use this particular method, you can close this, and what you can do, you can launch the start menu, go to the Oracle, and under Oracle, you will find here Net Configuration Assistant. It's the same thing. Whether you launch it using the Windows command prompt or whether you launch it from the start menu, it's exactly same. So let's say more and say run as administrator, and let's launch that. And you can see it opened exactly same window. So we will do the listener configuration. So click on next. What you want to do, add a new listener. So let's say add. If you want to change the listener name, you can change it. If you want to keep it default, which is the listener name is listener, you can leave it at default. Click on next. The available protocols will stick with TCP. Click on next. Default port 1521. If you want to use default port, you can use default port. If you want to change to any other port, you can use any other port, but we'll stick to default port. Click on next, and this particular command will configure the listener. Now, if this particular screen stucks and it doesn't give you any output, if it is, then what you do is you launch the Windows command prompt once again, and what you do is you just say lsnrctl status, and let's take a look if it has started. And as of now, the listener has not, and that's done. Would you like to configure another listener? And say next, because we don't want to configure another listener. And now if you run the same command, we should be able to get the listener running. Give it a few seconds for the listener to configure. And that looks good. And we got the listener running. You can see the listener has started. So uptime 0 days, 0 hour, 0 minutes. So that looks good. So the listener has started successfully. Let's click on next and let's click on finish. So that looks good. So now we have finished the netca utility. So we have using the netca utility, we have created the listener. Again, as I mentioned, you can either use the netca or you can go to the start menu, go to the Oracle home and create this. Now, the listener is pretty important. Without listener, you will not be able to connect to your Oracle database from a remote server. So that's important. So that's done. The next part is, again, what you can do. You can let me clear the screen. And what you can do, you can say DBCA, which will launch this particular utility, database configuration assistant. Okay, and it allows you to create the database. If you have the database, then you can delete it and you can do other activities using this particular database configuration assistant. Now again, the way we launch it, we launch the Windows command prompt and we type DBCA. Now if you don't want to use the Windows command prompt, you can go to the start menu, you can go to the Oracle home, and you can click on this or database configuration assistant more, run as administrator, and this one will exactly launch the same window which we launched just a minute before. So we are going to create the database here. Click on next, and now instead of choosing the typical configuration, we'll choose the advanced configuration. So let's click on next. General purpose, if you, based on your choice, you can choose data warehouse, general purpose, or transaction processing. Custom database will stick with the general purpose. Click on next. Here you can give this is your SID. This is your SID. Oracle, this is called Oracle SID, or SID stands for System Identifier. SID, System Identifier. So let's change this to Aura 21. Again, whatever you want to give, you can give that. And here we will, if you want to create a PDB, if you don't want to create a PDB, by default Oracle 21c is multi-tenant, which means you have to create one PDB. Let's create one PDB called PDB1. So we are going to create our PDB called PDB1. So the SID will be Aura 21. So the database name will be Aura 21. The PDB that you will create will be PDB1. If you want to create multiple PDBs, you can do that. So you can do something like this, but we will stick with single PDB, and we are going to create a PDB called PDB1. Click on next. Now where you want to store the data files, we'll say use following, and what we will do, we will say file system, and we'll give the location of the file system. So let's do something. Let's go to the D drive. And let's create a folder called Aura data here under this. And now again, you can create in the caps or you can create in the smaller case. That's not a problem. So let's take this particular path and let's paste it here. Let's see if it got, and you can see D drive Aura data. So what we are saying is like our database, the system data file, redo log, etc. will get created under D drive Aura data. So this is the location where the actual database will get created. The data files, system files, the sysocks, redo log, control file, etc. will get created in this location. Click on next. If you want to specify the fast recovery area, you can specify. If you don't want to, if you want to enable the archiving, you can enable archiving as well. I'm going to leave that. This is the listener that we created. Remember the listener 1521 that we created. It has chosen that. If you want to uncheck it, you can uncheck it. If you want to keep it checked, that's fine. What it means is that this particular database will get registered with this listener. That is a good thing. So we will keep it checked. So click on next. And if you want to configure database vault, Oracle label security, I'm not going to choose any of these options. Click on next. Here we can change the SGA. SGA is the buffer memory, kind of buffer memory. So you can change it based on how much memory you have. Let me do something like this. Let me say, instead of MB, let me say GB. So let me do 3 GB and let me say 1 GB of PGA. So I'm keeping 3 GB of SGA and 1 GB of PGA. Sizing 320 default processes. Character set, if you want to change the character set, you can change the character set based on your requirement. Connection mode, dedicated or shared. I will stick with dedicated. Click on next. If everything is good, click on next. Now, if you want to configure the EM, you can keep it checked. If you don't want to configure, uncheck that. Click on next. Here, if you want to give different password for sys, system, and PDB admin, you can do that. Or you can say use same password for all accounts. I'm going to give same password for all accounts. And the password that I'm typing is literally password. It does not meet the requirements, but still I'm going to go ahead with that. It gives you a warning here. Admin password does not conform to Oracle recommended standards. Do you know why we got that? Because the password that I type is literally password, PASSWORD. You should use complicated password, but this is a lab, so I'm going to stick with password. So again, it gives us the warning, admin password does not confirm Oracle recommended standard. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. And again, let me tell you, you can change this particular password at a later point in time. Once the installation is completed, you can change it. So it is not mandatory that you have to give a complex password here. You can give normal password and later you can give a complicated password as well. So let's click on yes. If now you can, if you want to change the customized storage location, where the control file will go, where the data files will go, where the redo logs will go, if you want to change the size of redo logs, etc., you can do it from this customized storage location. And if you want to take a look at all init parameters and you want to change any init parameter, you have the option of changing that. You can just edit it here. So you have the option to edit the init parameter. You have the option of changing the here. You can, if you want to give some different name or you want to give another control file, you can see here, you can give another control file as well. Now I'm not going to do that, so let me delete that. So that's all good. So now what we are going to do, if everything is good, then we'll say create database and click on next. It gives us this particular all of this summary. If you want to take a screenshot of this, it will be better because this will give you a complete information of how we have created the database. Again, the screenshot is not mandatory, but if you want to take a screenshot, that should be fine. What you can also do, you can save the response file. This response file can be used to recreate the database with the same option by modifying that response file. You can recreate the database again, so you don't have to run the wizard. Now this particular response file, whatever we saved, is a normal text-based file. It's a normal text you can open in Notepad, TextPad, etc., etc. So that looks good. If everything is looking good, you can click on finish and this will start creating the database. Now creation of database takes a little bit of time. I'm not going to waste your time. Let me pause the video and come back once we are about to be done, or probably if the timing is not correct, I might come once the database is created. So give me few minutes. Let me pause and come back once the database is created. So I wanted to unpause it, but it got completed even before I unpaused that. So we have successfully completed the creation of the database here. Now, once the database is created, now let's connect to the database. So what we will do, we will first try to connect to our database locally. So what you can do, you can launch the Windows command prompt, and let me clear the screen for you. So let's say cd.cls. Now, if you don't have multiple Oracle databases running and it's the only single database that's running, you can just say SQL plus SSDBA and this particular command will run. But if you have multiple database running and you want to tell Oracle which database you want to connect, then first you need to say set Oracle SID, and the Oracle SID is the one that you specified during the installation. So you have to set that Oracle SID, and then if you say SQL plus as sysdba, and this particular command will connect you to the root container. So if I say show con name, it will connect you to the root container called cdb$root. And if you now say give me the PDBs, show PDBs. So the PDBs that are created, you can see the PDB1 got created because during the installation, we said, let's create one PDB called PDB1. Now, if you want to connect, so if by default, if you can see that let me clear the screen. So actually, let me do something like this so that we can fit more commands in the screen. So let me actually clear the screen. And what I'll show you now, as I told you, by default, we are connected to the PDB called, the CDB root. And if you want to connect to this PDB, so if you want to connect to this PDB, then you will say alter session set container equals to PDB1. So this is how, and now if I say show con name, you will see that we are now connected to PDB1. So when you directly connect as sysdba, you will get connected to cdb$root. And then if you do the show PDBs, it will list all the PDBs. We have got one PDB called PDB1. And then we said alter session set container is equal to PDB1. And then when I said show con name, we got connected to the PDB1. So this is the way you can connect to the PDB after connecting to the CDB. Now, the method that I used here is the way I connected here is SQL plus as sysdba. Now, this particular command does not use SQL plus as sysdba, did not use the listener at all. So we did not get a connection via the listener. So what we will do, if you want to connect as a with the listener, then you can actually use this particular command. And let me explain this particular command. So here we are saying SQL plus sys, the password of the sys. I gave the password because, and that's why I'm typing password at localhost. Again, you can either give the machine name here, or you can give the IP address or the local host. Because we are running it on the local host, this is fine. The default port 1521 or 21 is the SID. And if I type enter, and now if I show the show con name, you will see that we are connected to the CDB root. Now if I exit from this, and if I exactly take the same command, but instead of OR21, if I type the name of PDB1, and now if I do show con name, you will find that we are now connected to the default PDB called PDB1. So here, when I used OR21, the SID, we got connected to the root. When I said PDB1, we got connected to the PDB1. So let me show you this, both the syntax one more time. So here, if you say OR21, you will get connected to this is the Oracle SID, you will get connected to the root container. If you use the PDB, you will directly get connected to the PDB. So let me show you here as well, those two formats. So if you use OR21, you will get connected to the CDB. If you use the PDB name, you will get connected to the PDB. So this is how you connect via SQL Developer, SQL Plus. Now, let me actually show you one more thing. So whether you are connected to the PDB or CDB, you can actually, the database name here that we created, if you want to know the database name, you'll say select name from $database. So let's run that particular query. Select name. I don't know why it did not get copied. Let me try one more time. So let's try to copy that, and let me try to paste it once again. Yeah, that got copied, and you can see select name from $. So OR21 is your database name. So understand what is root, understand what is PDB, and what is database. The database name is OR21. So that looks good. So now what we will do, this is via the SQL Plus. So sometimes you may not like this SQL Plus, or it might be complicated for you. So how about installing the SQL Developer? Remember at the beginning, we also downloaded the SQL Developer. So to use SQL Developer and to install this particular software, it's really easy. Let me repeat it loudly. You don't install SQL Developer. Let me repeat it. You don't install SQL Developer. All that you do is you just extract the software, run the software, extract and run. There is nothing, there is no concept of installing the SQL Developer. So let me just extract it here, and I'll show it to you in front of you. So just let me extract this particular software. Once that software is extracted, let me go to that particular directory. Let me say view list. Here you will find this icon. Just launch that. There is no step to install this particular software, and you can see in front of you the SQL Developer has launched. Now the SQL Developer, for the first time, it will take some time because it will identify if there is any previous installation. So this is only for the first time. Next time it will not take so much time. So the SQL Developer it's started, and now what you can do, if you want to give the automated usage reporting to Oracle, you can keep it checked. If you don't want to, you can uncheck that and click on this plus button. Click on this plus button, and here this particular is your choice. Whatever you want to give, this is your choice. Whatever you want to give. So let's give some meaningful name. If we want to connect to the database called OR21, here the username would be sys. The password would be the sys password, whatever password we specified during the DBCA, sys DBA, save password. Local, if you are connecting, if you are running the SQL Developer on the same machine as a local host, you can give the local host 1521. SID, in our case, SID is OR21. Let's do the test, and that got successful. If you want to connect to the PDB, we can do that. You can use the PDB name. Let's do the test, and that's successful. Now, instead of connecting via the local, let's see if we can connect to this particular database. So I've got SQL Developer, and I think it's closed. So let me launch the SQL Developer. Give it a few seconds. So give it a few seconds, and that's got launched. And what we are going to do now, we are going to say plus here. So give me, and what we are going to say here, we'll give the name Aura21. We are going to connect to the Aura21. The host name Win22 this is what I'm doing from the remote. So 1521 SID that we used is Aura21. Let's do the test, and let's save that. Once you save here, you can see a session gets saved. Now let's save the session for PDB1 as well. So let's take that, and instead of SID, we'll give the PDB1. Let's do the test. That's got saved. Let's save that and let's cancel. Now what we'll do, we will make a connection to this. So open SQL worksheet here and open SQL worksheet. So I'm making a connection to the root container and I'm making a connection to PDB. Let me run the commands show con name. Let me take all of this. So this is Aura21. So let's say what database it is. It will be Aura21. Show con name. This one will get connected to the CDB $root. Let me put it here so that we know where we are connected. So we are connected, and let's see what PDBs we have got. We got one PDB called PDB1. So but we are not connected to PDB. We are connected to the root container. Now let's do something here. Exactly same commands. Let's do here. So let's see which database. The database name will be exactly same, which is Aura21. The connection name here will be PDB1 instead of root. It will be PDB1, and you can see we are connected. And show PDBs will only show the PDB1. It will not show us the seed container, because within the PDB it only shows the PDBs which we are connected to. So that looks good. Now what we will do, we'll go back to our SQL Developer, and here let me actually do the host clear. So I'm going to clear. Let's see where am I connected to. Show con name, and I'm connected to PDB1. So let me do something like this. Let me say select star from employee from that PDB, and you will see that we get message table or view does not exist. So what we are going to do, we are going back to what we'll do, we will create this particular table from the SQL Developer while connecting to the PDB. So right now we are connected to the PDB. You can see we are connected to the PDB, and while connecting to the PDB, I'm going to create a table called employee. I'm going to insert our first employee called Rock. So the first employee called Rock has joined organization. I'm going to commit it and I'm going to select that. So let me create the table. Let me clear all of this output. So let me create the table. That's done. Let me insert one employee record, one row inserted. Let me commit that particular record. That's done. Let me select from that employee. That's done. So we got first employee called Rock. Now let's go back to our SQL Developer and let's run exactly same query that we ran. When we ran that particular query, we got message table or view does not exist. Now let's see what we get, and we get that one Rock. So whether you run the command using SQLPLUS or whether you run this command using SQL Developer, the command is exactly same. Whether you do from here and you are connected to exactly same database, because the table that we created here and the record that we inserted, we are able to see it here as well. So it's the same database which is hosted on this machine. So why would you install the SQL Developer? Because SQL Developer makes your life easier. It makes my life easier. I like SQL Developer because I can rerun the commands, I can copy paste, etc. I can look at the format, etc. and I can open multiple connections. So if you say open SQL worksheet, it opened another connection for us. So I can run some commands here, I can run some commands here as well. With that, I would like to end this particular tutorial. And in this particular tutorial, we learned how to install Oracle Database 21c and SQL Developer on Windows. We installed Oracle Database, we created a listener, we created the database, we installed SQL Developer, we connected to the database using SQL Developer, we created some tables, and we learned how to query those tables. I hope you like this particular tutorial. If you do like the videos that I'm uploading, if you do like the content that I'm uploading on my channel, do hit the like button, do hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and see you in next tutorial. Till then, bye bye, have fun, enjoy.